In this video, we will talk about pivot charts. So pivot charts are graphical representation of a pivot table. So we know about pivot tables. Now let's see how we can create a pivot chart. Though in Google Sheet, we cannot create a pivot chart just like we can create it in Microsoft Excel, but we can create a chart from a table. So this is a data set from Solid Woodwork. We have furniture sales data. We have salesperson from salesperson 1, salesperson 2, salesperson 12. Then we have products like chair, showcase, dinner table, coffee table, etc. Then we have regions, customers who have bought these products, dates at which these products were bought, then item cost, number of items, and the total cost. So if I create a pivot table with respect to this table, it will look like this. So I have created this pivot table. We have earlier talked about pivot tables and we know how to create them. Now this is a pivot table. I have used the date table and converted it into months. Then I have used only these two customers, HomeSpace and Paperfry, and then I have calculated the amount they have spent. So HomeSpace have spent this amount or have bought the products of this amount in month of Jan, and Paperfry have bought the products of this amount in month of Jan, and the grand total is sum of these two. Now this is a chart I have created with respect to this pivot table. So in Excel we can directly create a pivot chart, but in Google Sheet we have to create a normal chart from the pivot table. Now this is the visual representation of this table exactly, or it is easy to understand for everyone else. As you can see, this represents the sales of Jan and Feb up to December with respect to these two customers, HomeSpace and Paperfry, and we can easily compare these two customers by just looking at this chart. But if we look at this table, it is not that much easy with respect to this chart. So this is a visual representation of this pivot table, and as you can see, it is much easier to look at this chart and understand the comparison between these two customers rather than looking at this pivot table. As you can see, these are the months and these are the total amount they have spent on the products we have, and we can compare them easily, and we can say that in Jan month HomeSpace spent much more than Paperfry. They spent around 55,000 and the Paperfry spent around 25,000. So we can compare them and we can visualize and we can get information easily from a chart. That is the purpose of a chart. But let's see how we can create this chart. So let's first delete it. Now to create a pivot chart, I will not take the grand total columns or grand total row. I will just take this data from HomeSpace and Paperfry and the months. Now let's go to insert and insert a chart. Now we will use a column chart. So I will add a column chart. Now this is the column chart. And if I, let's say, add some filters, let's add a filter here. So I will select the entire column, date, month, go to data, create a filter, and let's now filter out the data. So if I remove the months, let's say I remove November and let's say December. So December, okay. And as you can see, November and December are also gone from this chart. So this is how you can filter out. I can even add some slicers here. So let's remove the filter, December, November. So we know how to create a slicer, but let's just create it here. So go to data. Now let's add a slicer. We have to select the table range. So I will select the table range. Okay. Now let's choose a column. So I will choose the date month column, and this is the slicer. Now I can remove a few months. Let's say I want to remove April and August. Okay. And as you can see, April and August are gone from this chart and from this table. So this is how you can filter out the data, or you can add slicers. But as you can see, as I add a filter or I filter out some data, it changes in the table as well as in the chart. And we can also customize this chart. So if I want to edit this chart, I can customize it. I can change the colors. I can add some headings, or I can change the labels as well. But in Excel, we have different editable options included in the chart so that we can filter out the data, we can sort the data. But in Google Sheet, we just have to create a normal chart out of a pivot table. This is how you can create a pivot chart or a normal chart which acts like a pivot chart in Google Sheet. Now we will move to the next topic. Thank you.